Welcome to the campfire, everyone. These are allegedly true, scary stories. Let's begin. Grab a seat by the fire, relax, and enjoy. I'm in my second year of college, and I must say, the college life isn't what you see in the movies. Everyone most of the time is either doing homework at school, or in their dorms, or away visiting family or traveling. Once in a while, there will be a party or a school event, and those are legit fun. Anyways, my name is Jacob, and I go to school in Rexburg, Idaho. It's called BYU, Idaho. If you have ever heard of it, it's a really small town in eastern Idaho, and has a very strong culture of high standards. That must be why the school is so boring. I attended here because it's where all my friends are, and I didn't want to go to a school where I don't know anyone. Along with the small town come small town people who are very nice and caring, or so I thought. The reason why I am telling you this story is because not all small town people are nice and loving. Some are downright weird. Not the kind of incest or rude weird, but the kind of weird where you feel a strange energy around someone, or when you are alone and feel like you're not alone kind of weird. It started in October of 2019 when I was a freshman. A year later since it's happened, and I'm still shaking on the inside. Me and my cousin Chandler and our friends Doss and Porter do everything together. Parties, share an apartment, and all that. We got word through some people that there will be this party going on that the city is hosting that weekend. It seemed like it would be fun to go. I mean, there would be girls there, so what the heck. I told the guys about it, and they all agreed to go with me. The party was going to be a massive bonfire with a DJ and stage, and even some food and drink stands. I checked the weather on my phone, and it was going to be a crisp, cool night that night, so good thing there was going to be a huge fire. Oddly enough, for October, the weather app said it was going to snow heavily the next day. The party was on a Friday night, and today was a Wednesday, so that gave us some time to catch up on some homework and chores and whatnot. The next day, I decided to go to Walmart and get some supplies for the party. You know, like s'mores and warm clothes and stuff. While at Walmart, I ran into one of my friends named Sam. Sam is a native to Rexburg, and he's also going to school here. I wouldn't say he's one of the weird people here, but he isn't the normal one. He kinda just keeps to himself. Could you blame him though? I told him about the party that was going on tomorrow night, and he seemed unaware of this. So I figured I would be nice enough to inform him, and he sounded pretty curious about it. He asked me questions like, how many people will be there, and is it going to be in the city or in the fields? I told him that it would be in the fields outside of the city, and tons of people were going to be there. He got more perky and said that he would be going. I gave him the address, and then we parted ways. I've never seen him so happy like that before. Whenever I do see him, he usually just has the same expression on his face and doesn't carry conversations much. I was pretty happy he was going. Who knows, maybe he'll get lucky with some girl there. I finished my shopping and then headed home for the night. When I got back to my apartment, my cousin and my roommates were watching a scary movie. I told them I ran into Sam and to let them know he'd be going to the party, and if they saw him, they should say hello. They agreed, and Doss excitingly said that we should go do a prank at the party.
Yo guys, let's all buy masks and hide in the fields and scare people.
That actually sounded like a good idea.
I mean, I'm down, but I don't want to get kicked out of the party.
Oh, come on. No one is going to kick us out. People will think it's funny, if anything.
I, for some reason, agreed with them, and then made my way to my room to go to sleep. Finally, it was the day of the party. Throughout the day, everyone was talking about the party and who would end up making out with who, and all that stuff. In small towns, whenever there's an event going on, everyone goes, even some of the neighboring towns. Heck, I think I overheard some of the teachers talking about it too. I got all the things I needed to do throughout the day and did all my homework early so I could enjoy the night. The party started at 9 p.m. and it was 7 p.m. when I checked my phone. I drove back home to shower and prep. When I got dressed, Chandler came into my room and offered to drive us all there. When everyone else got dressed, we hopped in the car and made way to the party. On the way there were tons of cars all heading in the same direction. It was a one-lane road both ways that was straight for miles, so there was a bit of traffic. If you're not familiar with the whereabouts, the fields were about 10 miles out north of town, kinda by the big sand dunes. I'd say this time it was close to 9. After some driving and waiting in traffic, we finally arrived. It was so awesome to see. As we drove in the parking lot, there were hundreds of cars and hundreds of people in a big mass. The dark night was lit up by all the disco lights along with the fires that were lit in random places. As we got out and walked to the party, I could see a massive pile of wooden pallets that would what I would guess the big fire for the main event. We headed to the part of the party where all the people were and danced to some songs. I saw a lot of cute girls there, but none of them seemed sober enough to know what I would be doing or asking for their number, if that. In fact, there was this one girl on stage who looked like she was so drunk she was going to pass out. I actually saw her jump on stage and dance in front of everyone. As time went on, we were all enjoying ourselves. Porter was off dancing with some friends, and Doss was who knows where, probably getting laid in one of the porta potties. Chandler and I danced with some friends and girls. I saw quite a lot of people I knew there, even some teachers from my classes. The party was great. The music was actually pretty decent, and so was the food and drinks. I even tried showing off by doing a front flip over the fire. As to my expected, no one really cared. After an hour or so into the party, one of the event hosts gathered everyone around the massive wooden piles of pallets while holding a torch in his hand. He lit up the trail of gasoline, and it made its way from the dirt onto the wood. As it lit up, the crowd grew louder and the music started playing louder. The small trail fire slowly made its way to the wood pallets and ignited the night. It was pretty awesome to see. When it was fully lit and all the flames were waving, it was pretty darn hot to be close to. As I predicted before, I saw Doss come out of a porta potty with some girl. He came up to us with a big grin on his face and told us it's time to start the scare pranks. We looked for Porter and found him dancing by himself in the corner of the crowd. Poor guy. We all made our way behind the food and drink vendors and put our masks on and hid in the field by the cars in the darkness. Chandler turned to us and told us the game plan.
Alright, here's the plan. I'll go tell people someone dropped tons of money near the cars, and when they make their way here, you guys will split up and make them cry!
It sounded easy enough. Doss and Porter went to hide behind some cars, and I made my way into one of more open areas of the lot. I actually hid near Sam's truck, so he did end up making it, like he said. I'll have to keep an eye out for him when I get back to the party. As Chandler made his way to the crowd, he yelled to the crowd,
Hey everyone! Free money by the fields!
Just like a pack of hyenas, people started making their way to us. Chandler ran back to his hiding spot as quick as he could, and yes, we actually laid out fake money all over the ground. As people came closer to pick up the cash, we started jumping out from our spots and scaring people. This consisted of light pushing and yelling as we scared them. Thankfully, half the people were drunk, so the oncoming people didn't notice us scaring everyone. I saw Doss and Porter on my left scaring people, and Chandler straight ahead of me scaring people, and some people that came my way I made sure to scare the heck out of. But something was off. When I looked to my right, I saw people running away from that direction. There was none of us scaring people that way, let alone hardly any cars to take cover behind. I took a second look to see where my friends and cousin were, and they were hiding where they were supposed to be. So why were there people running and screaming from over there? I took my mask off and walked over that way. The screams sounded real. Too real. Like in the way someone would actually be terrified and in real danger type of real. I walked more in that way, but couldn't see anything unusual. Figuring people were drunk and being stupid, I regained my toughness and didn't think much of it. As I got to the core where people were running from, there was a red trail on the ground that led to the darkness of the cornfields. We didn't do this. Is someone else playing a prank here? I started to follow the trail, and as I went into the direction of the fields, people were running opposite of me. I grabbed a random person and asked him what was going on. He looked confused and smelt like beer.
Don't go that way. There's someone in the fields has an axe.
I released him from my grip and he ran off. I couldn't tell if he was being serious or not. The way he said it sounded legit, but at the same time like he was trying to sound spooky and playing along with some type of game. I mustered up the courage to go in the fields and see what the heck was going on. As I got to the fields, I brushed off the tall grass and corn plants out of my way. There was this horrible scent that came to my nose that smelled of dead animal. I kept walking and I stepped in something smushy. As I looked down, I couldn't believe what I saw. Someone's head, freshly cut off the body, laid there. I started to gag and fell to my knees. I leaned over in the dirt and expelled my disgusting on the floor. When I got done, I too let out a scream and ran back to the crowd to tell my friends and to call the cops. I felt so dazed after seeing that, I could barely walk. I made my way to the base of the party, hoping my cousin and roommates were there. To my surprise, the party was pretty empty now. The people that were still there were the drunk ones. I looked around to see if I could find my friends. When I turned to the giant fire, I saw something standing there, just looking right at me. It was Sam. I quickly grabbed my phone and took a picture of him in a way that he wouldn't notice so I could show the police this for evidence in case he ran away. He was dressed very differently from everyone else. He was dressed in dark clothes and wearing a hoodie. I couldn't muster up the words to say anything. We both just stood there, facing each other.
Oh, hey Sam. I thought I saw your truck here. Say, do you know why everyone is running around like crazy? I haven't got a clue,
he said very calmly. I backed away slowly and made my way to the car. I called the police as I did, and when I passed Sam's truck, I couldn't help but look in his bed. I saw an axe in the back of the bed with blood on it. Now I was sure he killed that person, or people for that matter. When I looked back to see if he was still there, he was gone. Now I was really starting to freak out. I told the operator to send down everyone they had to the party and that there was a murderer killing people. They said they would have police there as quick as they can. When I hung up, I tried calling my friends and cousin, but there were no answers. I stayed in our car trying to gather myself and muster up the courage yet again to go find my friends and cousin. I hopped out of the car and grabbed a tire rod from the trunk and quietly made my way to the back of the fields. The people that were still running around screaming and drunk were everywhere, and the people that weren't aware of this were still partying along with the music and bonfire. I ran into the fields and made my way to the dead body. I looked to see if there were any others. There was a red trail leading deeper in the fields though. I followed it and brushed the cornfields out of my way. I wish I would have just stayed in the car. I counted at least 6 more bodies in a pile, all with their bodies cut up, and some had limbs chopped off. I couldn't believe my eyes. I threw up yet again on the ground and looked for cop lights, but didn't see any. Just then, I heard footsteps brush along the dirt approaching. I hid in the leaves and kept as quiet as I could. The footsteps stopped.
You know, I was going to let you live. But now that you've seen this, there's no way I could let you go.
I didn't give up my position. I just kept as quiet as I could. I knew Sam killed those people. I just knew it. The next thing I remember is seeing my vision go dark. It felt as if something metal just hit the back of my head. Sam hit me from behind. I woke up in seconds later, being dragged to the pile of bodies. He let go of my shirt and walked a short distance from me and aimed a gun to my head. I closed my eyes and my whole life was flashing before me. Just then, I heard a gunshot, and my ears were ringing like crazy. I opened my eyes and I saw Sam on the floor. I looked past him and saw a police officer and cop lights in the near distance. It was a miracle, is how I describe it. The officers carried me to the ambulance, and I looked around and saw the chaos of what happened. So that's how he did it. When he asked me those questions at Walmart, he was planning that murder. And when he noticed us scaring people, he took that chance to actually kill people, and they thought those screams were just from us scaring them. When I got to the hospital to be interviewed, I told them the entire story. After they took notes, they told me that Sam was dead because of loss of blood, which brought a relief to me. I was also told that there was a total of 13 bodies found dead that night, 3 of which were my friends and my cousin.